Hey, this is Steve with the Punch Up Podcast. With me on this episode are Kevin Regan,
Hey, Steve.
Jessie Preisendorfer,
Hey, Steve.
Ian O'Shea,
Hey, Steve.
and our guests on this episode are Micheline and Tom McManus, the McManus.
Hey, aloha.
Aloha, my Ohana.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are we
Yeah. Should we
No
get
one
out
else.
our translators?
walk a licky licky? Come on, you want to lay me?
That one.
That
That
is
one
so
came
wrong.
through.
No.
Micheline and Tom, it's all yours. Tell us the story.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
we thought we would tell you the story of how we got married. See if that might be a good one. Tom proposed to me at Comedy Sports. That's not the story we're going to tell. But after I accepted his proposal, we went to a sushi restaurant.
Can we just what was the lag time between question
On
and
the
answer?
accepting. Yeah.
I still wonder why we were out for sushi. You were not eating sushi?
I was not eating sushi because I was pregnant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean,
There's a level of sin already kind of hovering over you guys.
we should include the part of the story where we came to a Comedy Sports rehearsal in the basement of what is now the playground
Right.
in the cold room,
Right.
and we announced that we were having a baby, and Karen Hinton screamed out, "Babies having babies!"
Oh, the horror!
Where am I going with my life? They're babies. She has a beautiful family now. Yes, but that was a moment. So we did the whole proposal thing,
Mhm,
and
that's
then we told I told my mom, like, we're gonna get married. Like, here's the plan. Da 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 da. You know, no specifics, but this is what we're gonna do. We'd like to be married when the baby comes. By the way, today is Jack's 22nd birthday.
Wow.
Some context.
Nice.
Yeah,
Happy
So
birthday.
how old were you guys at the time?
26, all good. So now I'm a little older than that. Mhm. So we went to a
It's not a
sushi
math. It's not a
restaurant.
math podcast.
Okay.
You
So
went to the restaurant right after the show, or like the
No. So we put the plan on the table, but we were like, how are we going to do this? We're
Mhm.
going to go to City Hall.
We didn't know.
We're like, how do people get married? What do you do? And we were openly having this conversation when we're out at dinner. It was really rude of me, though, come to think of it, that we were at a sushi restaurant. Like,
Yeah.
you were you
Yeah.
love me a lot. We go to a sushi restaurant. I'm like, raw fish. And she's like, I'll have the rice bowl. So we're talking about it, and this waitress, she must have been like Jack's age now. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's important. She's important to the story. She was very sure of herself, this waitress. And she's
Okay.
like one of those people you meet and you're like, she's wise. Like, she just said things in declarative sentences that you were like, she's lived some experience that I have never lived. And so I'm going to take my cues
I
from
just
her.
noticed that she had a tattoo,
My
so I
cues
thought,
from her.
yeah,
It's also possible she was just doing tequila shots in the back with the back of the house.
really, or sake at least. But she was like, she has a tattoo.
Yeah.
She's lived.
That's
Right.
like.
You
Oh
know?
wow!
Yeah.
You're like
Where
the
was
map
this?
of
Do you guys-
Waterworld.
It was in Center City, not too far from the show space.
Yeah, I feel like 18th and.
Yeah, that sounds right. It's not there
okay.
anymore.
Okay.
But so she kept coming back and forth to the table and heard us talking.
Yeah, that we were planning our wedding, right? Like, will it be City Hall? So we were just, I think we even have a piece of paper in front of us where we were just like writing down like what we thought we were going to do for a wedding.
Whiteboarding.
Right.
Yeah.
Whiteboarding on a little
But
sheet
she
of paper.
had a piece of paper. I had like unagi or
Yeah.
something.
You were eating raw
fish.
sushi.
Yeah.
You were eating raw fish.
So we're doing that. And then she comes over. I think it was like the 4th or 5th visit, just waiting on us. And she comes over and she's like, what are you guys doing? Like, what's on the piece of paper? And, we're kind of game. And, we had a sort of romance about us at that point where we were like, everything is on the table, literally. Like, anything is possible with our lives.
Well, you weren't afraid of going to hell, so.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
We were feeling lucky at
We're
this
feeling
point.
lucky. So we were like, we basically laid it out for her. We're like, we're planning our wedding and we're not sure what to do.
It's gonna be soon.
And it's
Yeah.
got to be soon. We didn't tell her we were pregnant, but I think she sussed it out again. She was wise.
Yeah.
And you had how many
Different plates.
months? What was your timeline? You had what, 5 months?
No, I wasn't that far along. I think it must have been 3 months, maybe 4 months. It was
Yeah.
it was like I wasn't showing, obviously.
Okay.
So I don't think you could have picked it out. And my wedding pictures from the wedding that we'll describe in a second were you couldn't have told that I was pregnant.
Well,
Um,
you're not what we call in the business a big lady.
That's
What
the
no,
term.
yeah.
in
Is
the
that an
business.
industry term?
Not
Well,
a big
I,
lady.
I have my hands in a couple pies.
Oh my.
Oh,
And one of those pies is in the 70s.
that's right. Here now.
So she looks at our plans and she's got the wise eyes and she says to us, I know what you should do. I know exactly what you should do. And we just looked at her with these like fixed gazes, like, oh, okay.
Teach us, Sensei.
Teach us, Sensei, tell us.
This is a white woman, 22 years old, with a tattoo, working as a waitress in a Japanese restaurant.
Yeah.
I have a guess, but I don't want to ruin it if it's right. Is the thing.
No,
It's the
tell us what your guess is.
It's
The
not.
McManuses.
It's not right.
You don't think so? I want to say, oh God, what's it called? Not Renaissance Fair, but the what's it called?
Oh, medieval times.
Yes.
Oh, I wish.
That would have been
Yeah.
so good. I would have done that too. If you had been my waiter, I would have
No,
done
really,
that too.
she had us in her hand. We could have
She-
done whatever she told us.
She was so wise. I can't just tell you how wise she was. So she says, no, you should not, whatever it was on the paper. We were like, we think we're just going to go to
City Hall, invite my
Yeah.
mom.
Right.
You
And
know.
she was like, why would you waste this life experience on that? And I was like, oh my God, my eyes are open. What should we do? What is the answer, waitress? And she said, Vegas. Vegas is the answer. Like, you gotta, this is the time in your life when you're gonna look back on it and tell a story about it. You're gonna want to tell the story of this moment. So you better have a Vegas in there. Like City Hall, what kind of story is that? I'm like, yeah. Stupid. Why did you write that down?
Yeah. You can't get married by Elvis at City Hall.
No.
Could I get some more wasabi?
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, like, there wasn't a moment of hesitation, but it was like when I looked over and she was like, "Yeah," I'm like, "Then I have no hesitation either."
Right.
So that was decided at that moment, and we were like, "Yeah." Like, so we were walking back, and went back to where we were living, and we were like, "Hey, Dave," and "Hey, Dave, we're gonna take a trip in a month. We're gonna go to Vegas," and so we started to plan the trip, and actually Micheline she saved all the emails that we sent back and forth.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
like about like booking the event, and so I sent like, oh, we have this, the Chapel of Love is booked on the old strip, and we're thinking like, we've never been to Vegas, we have no idea what we're.
We had no idea.
We didn't realize that the old strip is like, it's like dying,
It's scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you tell people you were doing this?
Well, so that's the thing. That's the thing.
Therein lies the rub.
Besides Dave.
There's the
Yeah.
rub.
Yeah. Dave knew. I mean,
And we
yeah.
called Tom's brother who lives in California because that's a short flight for him. And we
Because
thought,
that's real good thinking.
Yeah.
About major life event. Well, who has a short flight?
yeah.
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 Let's pick,
It's gonna
let's
matter
pick
most to
one
them.
of our family members. Just one.
And then we asked a friend of mine from college who also lived relatively close by. So there were 2 people at the wedding, and it was my friend from college and his brother and Elvis.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah.
Wait,
so I
was
got in touch.
Elvis
I got in
really
touch.
there?
Yeah. No, yeah. For sure. Got in touch with the chapel, and we're like, I want to have Elvis there.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, we subcontract to an Elvis guy. I think he was like $800. He
was the most expensive part of that trip.
Yeah.
Elvis.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
And so we'll fill in a little bit more about Elvis in a minute, but that was like, I was super excited that Elvis was going to be there,
mhm.
and that was going to make it. I have no idea what I thought was going to happen.
Are you guys at all like Elvis fans?
Yeah.
Are you like, I mean, do you like grow up on his music, or like just like, it's just if you're gonna go to Vegas, you got to have Elvis.
That was part of it. Yeah. I mean, I really love the Elvis version of I Can't Help Falling in Love with You.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And I wanted that to be at the wedding.
Yeah. Okay.
I
And
guess
so he
I
was
had
gonna
a lot of
perform
disposable income as an admissions officer at the University of Pennsylvania that I could just spend $800 on that.
I've heard about you guys.
Yeah.
So he was going to perform that for you. He's not just going to stand there.
Oh yeah.
Oh
no, he was not just gonna
no,
stand
he
there.
did not
Okay.
just stand there. Wow.
He's going to work for that $800.
He's gonna
Did
TCB.
he ever? Wow. So we have the wedding. We get there. His brother, my friend are there.
Did you guys stay at like one of the casino hotels?
Stayed at the San Remo,
Oh man.
which was like, we could get a flight and hotel package at the San Remo, which was next to the what's the big pyramid one where we went and we got the wedding rings? What was that?
Luxor?
The MGM.
MGM. That's
the
right.
horseshoes?
Yeah.
Did you get the horseshoes?
No.
Yeah. So the night before we go to the MGM and we play slots, and big winner here. Like, she's walking around lucky. I mean, obviously, but yeah. So we won like some astronomical amount, like
It was like $102.
$100.
It was like $102.
and we
yeah.
go down to the
That's enough to buy you more raw fish that you could eat in front of her.
Thank you, Jessie, for remembering that detail.
Maybe a nice soft cheese.
all the raw fish that Nevada can provide.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Note to self: don't eat sushi in Nevada.
Yeah. So we're hot. We're on a roll. Let's go down to the shops in the basement of the MGM and see, like, let's find a jewelry store and let's buy rings. So so we're like, we need some rings. We're getting married tomorrow. And, woman puts out these rings and she's like, what are you guys thinking about? And it's like, oh, we just won. And she's like, okay. And she pulled out another set of rings. And so we got these rings that they were basically hollow. And I think they were like, plated gold, but like they've since been replaced. But
Were they just sketches of a ring?
she's like, give me your hand. And she drew on it.
you spent all your money on Elvis, so yeah.
No
Yeah.
ring money.
Yeah. I think I actually dented my ring moving the couch out of the apartment that Dave and I were sharing with live-in guests. Yeah, and it was dented for a long time, and then a whole nother story.
A dented wedding ring. That's beautiful.
Dented wedding ring. Yeah. So then we go to we
Go
got
to the
picked up in
chapel,
a
in
limo.
That
Yeah.
was part of the package. Part of the
Whoa.
package.
Sweet.
Yeah, limo, and then we get to the
I was
chapel.
popping the champagne.
It was
She was
very.
popping
Can
the
anyone
tongs.
can either of you recall and describe the odor of that limousine?
Yes, I can. I really, really can. So it smelled like smoke, sweat, and despair.
Yep.
100%. Like
That's
smoke,
that's a
sweat,
strip,
and
that's a strip joint.
Yeah.
That's a strip
Yeah.
joint.
That's the name of it. That's the name of the joint. It's
Yeah.
classy. It actually is.
it was
That's the name of
so
Micheline's memoirs.
okay. It was so very distinctive. I'm so glad you asked that question.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, I could only imagine the limo from the Chapel of Love that is rented out on. You can't even imagine how many people what has happened in that limousine.
Well, and plus, your sense of smell heightens when you're pregnant, right?
Yes.
Well,
yes.
that's really right. Sure.
Yes. That's all I could smell was the smoke, sweat, and despair. Like that's
Despair.
it. Yeah.
Despair.
Yeah.
So
Despair.
you get
so
picked.
much
You get picked up, and you're ready to get married. So what are you wearing? What are we doing?
Yeah, we had done some work. We had consulted, and we hadn't consulted with each other. We had said, like, let's be whimsical and fun.
But not coordinated.
Was the waitress involved? Did you have her number at this point?
We needed her.
No,
We needed her guidance.
I think you went out. Like, did Amanda help you with that?
No, your sister Mary helped
Can
me
we
with that.
guess?
Oh.
Can we guess?
Yes, go ahead. Guess what we were
Okay,
wearing.
I'm picking Tom. Tom's rocking a tuxedo T-shirt.
Very nice.
I had a tuxedo pants and jacket with a Hawaiian shirt, but not like a good Hawaiian shirt, like like the discount rack Hawaiian shirt
Wow.
with a purple bow tie and purple cummerbund that I had from college.
Chuck Taylor's sneakers.
Yeah,
That's right.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Nice.
Right.
Well, you know that, Kevin, because we hung out back in the day.
You forgot to say I was at the wedding. I was there.
He was the
Kevin
videographer.
was that waitress.
But
Real
meanwhile,
M. Night Shyamalan turn there.
we're getting dressed in the hotel room, and I'm like, look, I got the thing, and I turn around and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's gorgeous, right?
Yeah.
She had this like, black and white sort of classic, like really awesome dress that had it was like a little vintage, and I'm like, oh,
Whimsical. That's whimsical.
Thank you. We got our sort of marching orders from the sushi waitress. She was like, this has to be a memory.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This has to be story worthy later. You
Yeah.
don't wear a joke for story worthy later. You wear something that you want to look beautiful
wow, this is coming
in.
out.
No, I
hard,
mean-
right?
Usually when you start with a sushi waitress, it goes in the right direction. Somehow.
In fairness, though, wait, real quick. I want to defend Tom because Tom is like a true romantic. There is that belief that you don't see the bride like the day of the wedding. Tom clearly didn't talk to the bride for a week before the wedding. So,
Or didn't listen to the bride for a week.
I'll go even further and say Tom was under the impression he was killing it.
yeah, Chucks, we're with you.
Until he
you
turned
that
around.
Outfit from
Yes.
Philadelphia. You packed that outfit.
Yes, he
Were they
planned to
fresh
wear that
chucks?
outfit.
So that was a
Fresh
decision.
Chucks.
Oh, I thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The Chucks might have been Dave's. I didn't have
They were
Chucks.
100% Dave Jadako's
Yeah.
Chucks. Yep.
So they were meant for juggling.
they were literally for a clown.
There is comedy sports chucks.
Are there? Now they're.
He is a pair of comedy sports chucks.
Oh, he
he
does.
does, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I have
I
a
bet
pair
they're
of
the
comedy
same one.
sports chucks. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you turned around like Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber, and you're like in an orange tuxedo, and she walked around the corner and was
Oh.
yeah, gorgeous.
Stunning. Yeah.
John Hughes entrance.
Yep,
Q
that's the way
16
it happened.
candles. Yeah.
That's pretty much the way it happened, and yet she went through with it. Because I had
$800
locked down a
is
couple other
non-refundable.
things.
You can't get
So
that money
in
back
the
to
end-
Elvis.
So in the end, Ducky does get the girl.
Micheline, was there a moment where it was like, oh. Okay.
Oh, when I saw his outfit,
Yeah, like, oh, he's joking.
I was not angry. I was, let's say, surprised. I was
Miffed?
surprised.
Would you say
Um,
miffed?
I wouldn't say miffed. I had literally, because my hair is naturally curly and it takes me a long time to get it to look straight, and I really wanted it to look a certain way on my wedding day. I had been in the bathroom for like a good long time, like an hour. And so I had worked really hard on this look. And so when I came out and he was just like, ha cha cha.
And his lapel squirted water at you.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
all right, we're doing it this way.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is how we're doing it. All
I'm
right.
totally naming this episode for better or for worse.
I just want. How many times do you go? Huh? Huh? Huh?
No, I knew. No.
Oh.
You know when you know, right? Like,
Oh,
she
yeah.
walked out and I was like, oh, she's stunning. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Wait,
yeah.
Once we went to the Chapel of Love and we had our pictures taken, I got to name all the pictures later. And so the ones of Tom, I just gave sort of irreverent names to. I'd be like, groom with a pillar and an outfit.
That's great.
So, I worked it out. She worked it out. It was all right.
So
Yeah.
so we're in the limo. She didn't get sick. So that was good. And then we got to the chapel, and we're introduced to the officiant, who was introduced us as a minister. Might have been Universal Life. Might have been I don't know, but
Oh,
you know,
not
I-
Elvis.
Not
well
Elvis.
Elvis was there.
Something else.
Yeah, there were three
Okay.
people there was the admin secretary, right, who was like putting the whole thing together, and then there was the minister where we were like introduced to him, like he was someone important, and
Yeah.
and really all they wanted to do was talk about the funds.
Yeah.
No money. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have the license, which we had gotten. We flew in the night before, and we just gone like straight to the clerk office and gotten the license. They're like, you have the license, you have everything in order. No blood tests, by the way. That's a myth.
Oh.
Blood tests.
Is that clerk office open 24/7 in Vegas?
Yes.
It was late at night. Yeah.
Yes. And there were like
Yeah.
the strangest people there who should not be getting married, in my opinion. Like, I just felt like they weren't making good choices, but
Pot, kettle.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I bet they all still are.
You
Everyone.
think so? Okay. All right.
Not all of them were advised by their sushi chef or
Yeah.
waitress.
So yeah, this guy. Sorry, I'm putting down my drink. So he takes us by the hand,
Oh yeah.
and
this is
he's
the
like,
minister.
he pulls
Yeah.
us in close, and he's like, now, it's customary to tip.
What?
Make sure you tip out each person in the ceremony. Where I'm thinking like, having been raised Catholic, like he's going to be like, this is a solemn vow you're taking. Like
Yeah,
he
you're
literally
starting
took
to
our hand.
sweat.
Yeah. Like I don't know. I hope I have enough cash for that.
Oh,
And
okay.
each person, he's a third of the persons.
Yeah. He actually said, he's like, and he said, this is the envelope, and he showed us where the envelope was on
With
the
his
wall.
name on it.
So we go in. And my brother finds his way there. Quite resourceful gentleman, and then our Michelin's college friends are there, and they've set up a camera in the back, so this is all preserved.
Yes.
How and it's set up. Everything is set up like you meant it. Like the chapel would be full, and all the stages of the ceremony, but it's just 3 people, and they're standing up at the front, like my brother's standing up like my best man, and they're standing up like they're the bride's party, right?
So
they're
there's,
just like
but there's
standing,
empty pews.
empty pews.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
many empty people.
Right. Rows and rows. Yeah.
They
And,
don't allow drunks off the street to come.
That
Someone
would
who
be
just
awesome.
gambled away their
livened it up a little bit.
college funds.
Just a dry place for the hookers to hang out for a little while.
A
Yeah,
safe
but then you
place
got to tip them all.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I was like
It's a-
checking my wallet, like no one else in, please.
No,
There you go. There you go. There you go, Barn.
Yeah.
So we get into the ceremony part of it, and I'm coming down the aisle, right, which feels ridiculous in an empty chapel. And then
sounds ridiculous.
it's so ridiculous, and yet there's Tom at the front, and I'm super in love with
Yeah.
him, still am. And I get to the front, and I didn't realize, because they didn't really tell us how it was going to go, that Elvis sings directly to us in the ceremony, like just to us.
Well, because he's got no other audience,
Right.
and
Just us.
and his hip movements are geared for a full house.
He gyrated basically like onto me.
Yeah.
Like he just was like
Yeah.
gyrating.
And I'm standing there like, whoa, oh, dude, this is spoken for.
Yeah, but you know what? Elvis is looking at how you're dressed, Tom, and how he's dressed. He's like, look, I'm her type. So
Yeah.
I got a shot here.
He's saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
He's like a super good performer, and I take nothing away from his performance,
No.
but he was also very, very sweaty.
Sweaty.
And he was so close to us. And you remember I worked for an hour on the hair, and he like is sweating onto my hair.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm getting the curl going again,
Oh,
because
yeah.
he's like
Oh, yeah.
sweating onto my hair.
No.
And I just felt like I'm like, we paid $800 for sweat and gyration, and I'm not sure why. Like I just wasn't sure.
I would do it for 6.
Yeah.
Well, how many songs did he sing?
Three. Yeah.
Oh my
The
God.
first one though was the loudest and the most gyrational. It was Viva Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
Sure.
Right.
Oh,
So he
sure.
sang that one. And then he sang Fools Rush
Is
In.
that the one everybody just has to kind of endure?
And there's like 5 of us there, so we're like, yeah. Awkward.
With no one else there.
Someone else.
And then the third one was I Can't Help Falling in Love. The third one was
Yeah.
But at
You-
that
you have
point, he
to- you
lost
have
me.
to-
Like, it's like my favorite song. I really wanted it. But
Beautiful
by that
song.
point, he'd already like grinded, up near my woman. And I'm like,
Thank you, sir.
And you have all this on film.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Oh,
record.
I would watch it every night, every single night.
Watch it a few times. It might be time to pull that
That's
out
quite
again for
enough,
the
sir.
kids. Yeah.
That's quite enough, sir. Thank you.
How long was the whole ceremony?
It was like a half hour, maybe.
3
not even an hour.
songs. 3 songs long.
3 songs long. Yeah. It was
15
fast.
minutes, maybe.
It was fast. And it was funny, like it was a nice ceremony. We were kids, we didn't know what we were really doing. So we were like, this is fun. This is totally sushi. This is driven by sushi. We got on the plane to come home and we called your mom from the plane, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, we called his mom from the plane to tell
That
her.
wasn't cheap in those days. You had to run the
No.
credit cards
It
through
was like a
the.
big-
Yeah.
Marathon. Yeah.
Right, we got married. We didn't tell anybody.
Before, my brother sent the tape out to everybody because we didn't realize that at the end of the tape, as we're dancing out, he's the last one out, and he's like, "Hi, Mom," because he knew what I was about to get into. When I, so my mom picks, "Hi, honey, what's going on? How's Micheline? Da 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 da." I said, "Well, I just wanted to let you know that we went ahead and got married."
Oh.
Oh, where are you? And Tom's like, we went to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Click.
Oh, no.
Well, the
No.
click was the phone hitting the wall,
Oh,
which I came to understand because the next voice
Stop
was my father saying like, "Is everything okay?" And I'm like, "Well, I just let Mom know that we got married and we're in Vegas." And she said, "Well, your mother needs a minute." She dropped the phone. "I'll talk to you later." So that was the final click.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, "Oh, that's it. That's the
return
thing."
to sender had just unknown.
So there's a subplot here with my father, which is that his brother had given us their mother's wedding ring,
Yeah.
which was the ring I proposed with.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so I had actually reached out to him as well. This is my Uncle Steve when we were in Vegas, and he had like sent us a telegram to like, because he's that kind of guy, sent us a telegram, like congratulations to the place where we were staying. And I called him, and when it dawned on him and he understood that he was one of the only people that knew, he literally said, "I don't know anything about this." "Tom, I don't know anything about this. I'll talk to you later." So that the coda on this story is that's why we have been married 4 times. I just a year and a half later, we had our big ceremony
With all the family.
in Swarthmore at the Quaker Meeting House.
I was there.
Yes, that's right. Jessie was one of the core group. It was big. Mike Young officiated,
Oh.
Oh wow. That's
and then which was awesome. And my parents were like, we want to pay. We were at D'Ignazio's townhouse in Media, and they were like,
Yeah.
we want to pay for an open bar, but in return, we want to invite all of the aunts and uncles. And like, we had a party, and Karen Getz choreographed a dance for us, and like, this was like
Oh,
the
wow.
greatest party ever.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And so then on our anniversaries, like on our 10th-year anniversary, we got married again, and then and that was in Wilmington, and then 20th we got married in Hawaii.
Was that in the Presbyterian Church in Wilmington?
Yeah.
I was at that one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And you guys will all be at the next one.
Kev, maybe
So-
we'll be at the 30th.
Kevin was at the first.
Right.
Oh.
Kevin
He
was at
was
the
Elvis.
first. Jessie was at the
Elvis.
second.
Steve was at the third, and
Right.
maybe Ian will.
Well, I was the waitress.
All this time.
We would have gotten away with it too.
Great advice, waitress.
Thanks, everybody.